Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. I'm actually filming this very close to Monday. It's actually Sunday night. So I hope you're doing well, as you know. So pretty much everything's been introduced now as an assignment, as you know. I'll talk a little bit about actually about the data journalism assignment, which again, which basically the rewrite is due this week. So anyway, and also about the feature, which not too loud out there. The feature assignments, and also I want to show you the actual real life Mark Bronson, where that came from. So anyway, we're actually kind of like wandering around an intern here. I hope you got your major assignment stuff. Thinking about that too. We'll be talking about that a little more extensively in the coming weeks. Um, Let me actually just share the screen first. I want to actually talk first about the data journalism assignment. And mind everybody that like basically what was in that, what that assignment was supposed to be about, basically. Um, Give me 1 second here. Um, I was interesting because I again the whole idea of actually like giving you the template and everything. I mean, that's actually a form of teaching. It's actually, I mean, it's not tracing necessarily. It's showing you basically the style to write, and then it's also supposed to satisfy what there is actually a quiz quota, and I think I've said this before. And you basically fill in the numbers and fill in the empty slots. I do admit that maybe like there was part of directions that perhaps were probably I gave her probably were not that great. Um, but so I'll explain that a little bit. Okay, so actually I meant to call up the assignment first. So let me do that. Okay, so anyway, this is the original assignment. The rewrite, as you can see, this is actually the another class. So actually your rewrites due the 13th. All right, so if you scroll down, you'll see like I provided different examples, that sort of thing. But the template, again, raise tuition number how many times over 5 years. So I saw interesting answers to this sometimes. I mean, not most of the answers, but I saw one person put in 2013 to 2018, and I can't understand why. But okay, we're looking at the last 5 years, really including this year. Okay, and it's right there down on the bottom. 2000. Again, this is actually another class which I gave out the same assignment. But anyway, yours is supposed to do the 6th. But anyway, the years. These are the years right here. Okay, 2019 to 2020 to 2023, 2024. Okay. Again, filling in the blanks right here. Okay. Now, this is the part that I think I didn't explain very well, and that is as far as the universe, quoting somebody from a release. Um, okay, so if you quote somebody from a release, you don't have to like say, according to Mark Angelson from Rutgers today. Actually, if it's from the university's press release, it's the university's mouth. Okay, it's the university's mouthpiece. So all you have to say is, according to Mark Angelson, if you're quoting an individual who's quoted in the release. Now, what I did run into, and I should have explained this better, is that if you actually quote the release, but not an individual from the release, so you should then actually just say according to a university release. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Okay. Let me just call something up here. Blah 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 blah. Okay. All right. So now this in this particular quote, I'm looking at my hex release here or story here. She did a really good job on it, but I actually X'd out some things, so I still want some people to answer these correctly. Now this, as you can see, Jonathan Holloway, he was actually quoted in this particular press release. So this is from Rutgers Today. It's a collection of Rutgers press releases, and that's where you find them. It's a portal for that. Okay. Now let's say that language came from the press release writer and I saw people quoting Dory Devlin, which I was like, who's Dory Devlin? And I noticed that was the press release writer. You actually don't do that. It's much like the Marv Bronson release. Okay. The megalomania release. You say according to, if it's not from a specific person, but it's in the press release, you say according to a university press release. Okay. And this is how, I mean, some people put this in bullet points, that's fine, but I mean, I'm looking for, tuition hikes every year, and there was at least one year where it wasn't. And then like just basically this, just let's see it like this. I saw people averaging out numbers and doing their own math. No, that's not how you do it. Okay. I'll give one big hint away here. Sh- the highest increase, okay. I saw some people leave out the strike and the jobs, and I'm sorry, the strike and the and wage increases and things like that. That really needs to be one of the reasons why. Um, I saw people listing other reasons, which is fine because they weren't the only reasons, but the biggest reason for this 2023-2024 increase, that according to the university, which could be a bunch of crap, is they're blaming it on the faculty. Okay, so they're saying the wage increases, stuff like that. So that needs to be in there. Okay. Probably the biggest issues I saw actually were in the student section. And what I was looking for there was just like we're doing for the bus reaction story. I was looking for um transition anecdotes quotes. Okay. And Mahek did I'm sorry, Mahek did a pretty good job here. Anthony Panisse explains that hikes have not affected him as much due to his financial aid package. As tuition increased, financial aid also increased. So that's something personal to him. And that's all I'm looking for, like in an anecdote. And see how it's paraphrased? Right down here, like really, Emily Robertson expresses her thoughts on how it does not seem affordable to attend Rutgers, even though it's out of state. So you have an out of state situation here. It's something personal, some personal slice of life. She explains how she is grateful to have money set aside for expenses for college. However, with tuition rises, it's becoming worrisome to her for her as those savings diminish. The quotes are supposed to be kind of just, again, just colorful, that sort of thing. Maybe I saw people maybe got a little mixed up because they saw these quotes in these press release in the news section of the story were a bit long. And I didn't mind that one. Here's another one right here. Because this is a news story. Yes, this could be paraphrased too. It's a bit of a long quote, so is this one. But this is actually the news part of the release. Okay, so this is actually just actually kind of producing news. It's not the same thing. This component of it is more of like the feature of the students, more like the feature story you're doing. Okay, feature writing, actual storytelling going on. Okay. Now here's a big one too, actually, that I wish Elsa explained better. People were quoting, which I really strongly suggest that you quote the what do you call it, the Rutgers press releases. But if you didn't, like NJ.com, so if you quote somebody or maybe something from the story, you say according to university officials as reported by NJ.com. That's how you actually handle the attribution right there. You have to get both in on that one. It makes it a little complicated and clumsy, but that you have to get both in, otherwise it's plagiarism. Okay. Or according to Mark Engelson as reported by NJ.com. Okay. So that's what you do when you quote like NJ.com, New York Times, uh, as report press, or whatever. Okay. All right. So, anyway, I hope you're able to see this video before. I mean, I know due date is on Monday, so that's a little tight. I get that. Here's again, some people were saying to me like, well, I don't know, I can't find where the tuition increase is. Well, here's a big one. Here's a big hint right here. Okay. Again, tuition is probably you go to Rutgers today. You saw me go to Rutgers today, put in tuition, and hello. Here's a giving one way right here, 2022, 2023. Look, the number is right there in the headline. Okay. They're pretty much all in like every headline for every year we're talking about here. Okay. And there's a lot of people use this Mark Engelson quote. It's like really long. Okay. But anyway, it's right there, 2.9%, 2022, 2023. That's last year. Okay. So, all right. So that's what you do there. Okay. All right. So again, that is due on today, meaning like when this video is posted. Okay. All right. Going back to the feature assignments. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm just trying to keep everything organized here. The feature assignment again, just to kind of reemphasize, let's do in a week. And I really want you to actually do a story with it. The biggest thing you got to do is you got to do a story with a top that has an anecdotal lead. And I might have explained this a little bit last week, but I want to go over a little bit better this time. I have actually an example of a story that worked well. And now, just so you know, by the way, this story was actually written for my summer class. So what you see here again, the top of the story. So the context here basically is that, it's been like ugly. It was like ugly hot weather during that period of time, like the ugly hot weather you feel in New Jersey, like really icky, that sort of thing, right? But I guess like sort of the twist here on this, and one of the things you're showing maybe like these anecdotal leads, is you show maybe some irony, like a twist that comes when you kind of create suspense at the top. Okay. I mean, it's not the most suspenseful thing in the world here, but Kenji Demarest, a Rutgers student, and you really got to start. I want to see people start with a single person on these anecdotes at the top. Okay, just a single person, not a group of people. Okay, Kenji Demarest, a Rutgers student, said the recent weather in New Jersey has been amazing because the sunshine always puts him in a great mood. He enjoys the hot weather because it's okay. So, if something's gonna like an axe is gonna fall or something like that, I'm not meant to gruesome here, but you're gonna get a car crash. He loves immersing himself in the sun rays and providing with organic seed to support. Now, what's ironic about this? So people are probably already getting the irony in this because during this period of time, it was like 100 degrees for like 3 or 4 days in a row, and it was awful. Or at least it was like 80 degrees and incredibly humid. So people were reading this and saying, "What?" So that's an eye grabber, like irony right there. Okay. He also loves engaging in social activities because of summer weather. Because of summer weather that he would not be able for cold. I grow vegetables, outdoor festivals, blah, blah, blah. Rutgers students despite the heat waves they're experiencing, they're pleased when the weather stays below 80 degrees, this sort of thing. So there were like, it was kind of going back and forth. That sort of thing, so that was a thing. So they were kind of, I guess the ironic twist was that despite those incredibly ugly days, there were occasional good days. So that's the nut graph right there, okay? That's the nut graph that basically kind of brings in the twist that people are actually kind of enjoying this ugly weather. Okay. And and what this needs to do is actually probably a better way of handling this would have been saying like Demarest, you want your teases to kind of bleed in to the nut graph. Demarest is among many Rutgers students who say that despite the heat waves they're experiencing, they're pleased when the weather drops, blah, 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 and they enjoy summer. Okay. So anyway, so that's what you're looking for here. This is a story I point out to my other classes because they're doing feature stories too. This is a very short anecdotal lead. This is about our friend Elon Musk. And by the way, I'm shifting all my crap away. I had a verified account on Twitter, which I gotta admit was actually kind of fun. So I'm like switching everything over to the threads, by the way, at Tom Dink Davis. If you ever want to follow me, I do say some stuff. Anyway, a day after Lukas Krupski, is that put out a fire at a Tesla car factory location in Norway, seriously burning his hands and burning a disaster. He got a letter from Elon Musk. Cliffhanger. Okay, what's gonna happen next? Oh my god, Elon Musk, what's gonna yell at me? He's gonna like baste me on Twitter like he does to other people. What's gonna happen? Does this person die? Congratulations for saving the day. No, it was Musk being glib. Again, Tesla's chief executive. What started as a story about heroic, so basically you got kind of this suspenseful, like what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? What started as a story about a heroic employee and a grateful employer has developed into an epic battle between the carmaker and Krupski. So actually, even a bigger twist. It spawned like all sorts of lawsuits, and now even despite this goodwill that Musk had, now he's the evil witch, and he's being crapped upon. Okay. That's what a nut graph does. It kind of serves as sort of like a safe landing to like the suspense and drama that's coming about. Okay. So anyway, I have a discussion point, which by the way, at this point right now, I only have like 6 people that have actually contributed to it, but they've actually contributed some really good things. Please keep this in mind that this is here. Okay. This is supposed to help you. This is really supposed to help you. And you really got to use this you really got to like participate for class participation. We do have class participation in this class, and this is the best way I do it is by checking who's participating in these discussion points. And I got some good ones in here, as you can see. I think the weather is pretty representative of New Jersey, and people are staying away from being climate change scientists. Thank you. I think we're pretty lucky to experience both blazing summers and cold winters, though I prefer the fall weather here. So here's somebody who basically, even though despite the changing weather, kind of prefers the fall weather. Watching the leaves turn and feeling the air get crisp is what I love most about the weather here. I'm sad it doesn't last longer. However, I think we've experienced much more rain this year than blah blah blah. Then you got like a little bit of a personal experience. One Saturday game day, a monsoon so bad I ordered an Uber from my dorm to my friend's house, which is only about 8 minutes walking. I was absolutely drenched to the bone. There's really some good description in there. Okay. And they're doing it for you actually, which is good. Walking from my car, walking to my car, and I had to borrow my friend's shoes. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Thank you, Emily, for that. Okay. So I have a video here actually where I show people like basically, I show how I have to admit my wording is really clumsy in this video. So but I basically show how people basically essentially take this information and turn it into a news story, a feature story. Okay. And it can be so easily done. And this is how you can do it right here. Okay. And by the way, again, this is the feature assignment right here. Don't forget. Okay. And it's actually like right here. And this video is right here, but I'm going to show it here just to make sure you actually do see it. Okay. Okay, let's get the full screen. Really, if you really want to like a big hint about how to handle things here, you just basically take like, I don't know, like I said, I haven't read through all these yet. Okay. But, maybe just take like, let's just take 3, maybe. We got Kaylee, Cameron, and Joseph. Do a little copy here. Okay. And second this size so it's not too much in your face. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Do it right here. Let's do 16. Okay. So maybe we do like a little bit of paste special, cut paste. Okay. All right. So this was Cameron, Kaylee. Copy down the first name here. I'm sorry. And that's just okay. Joseph Zarrell. All right. So
come back and watch football all season long, live and cable-free with YouTube TV from the Black anytime.
When you write, your tone influences how readers respond. With Grammarly, just highlight your text and type how you want to sound. Get your message.
This is Tom Davis, just so you know, I don't know how ads got in the middle of this, but just please keep going, okay? Skip.
So anyway, this is what I do actually a lot now because actually like a lot of the interviews I do actually I got a transcript for. So I literally will just cut and paste right from it. Just like you do with those news releases, you just cut and paste from it, and then you can kind of shape it so that it actually is your writing. Shape it in your writing and also fit it within the context of your story. Use transitional phrases to kind of go from one paragraph to the next or one point to the next. Okay. All right. So we can do something like this. Joseph Zarrell, Joe, I forget what year you're in, but just say like maybe Rutgers. As said, the weather as of late has been pretty ridiculous. Some days it's waking up to 60 to 70 degree weather and wearing shorts and shades for things to do. The next day, again, well, I'm actually paraphrasing here because I can actually cut what he's saying without getting too wordy, and make it easier to read. Okay, and people tend to read paraphrasing and storytelling and narrative more than read quotes. Okay, weather is so interesting, especially now because of how random it is. One day it could be beautiful, next day it could just be disgusting and muggy out. She sounds like a pretty good quote. Okay? So that's probably like one anecdote or one quote right there. Okay, all right. Then we got Cameron. I spell your name right? Well, it's right there. Let's see here. And then Diallo, on the other hand, said she really enjoys the weather. Sorry. You could do like a partial quote. Maybe even gets to experience full on. Maybe, if we only experienced cold or hot weather instead of both, I think we would get sick of the constant higher temperatures. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. Got Kaylee Warden down here. Sorry if I forgot her name. I know it's just in front of me. Kaylee Warden said she has been loving the weather this past week. As Rutgers is experiencing, She said this is her favorite time of year because you start to see everyone going outside more. And then, like I said, by paraphrase, you can actually cut down on things that don't sound so repetitive. The changing weather, she has been going out in the sun to do more work or simply bask in the sun. However, I know that the temperature will be going back down soon, and that is concerning because of global warming. All right. So there you go. Now I've just given you essentially like how now we can stick transitions in between those anecdotes and those quotes. I gave you just 3 of them right there. That's how simple it can be. And then, basically there's also a little bit more description in this kind of story. I can actually you tried a little bit harder to try to paint a picture of what everybody's going through. Basically we get to see what Joe is wearing, that sort of thing. Get a little bit, you maybe ask those sorts of questions you're interviewing, or actually you make that observation in your notes you wouldn't otherwise make. Like, what are they wearing? How are they acting? What's the expression on their face? That's what kind of thing you do in a feature. Okay. Now, here's again the big difference. Okay, so maybe I add in a transition right here. Add in a transition right here. Then I add in a transition right. Okay. All right. But we have to come up with a theme for the story, kind of like liking the hot weather, but not liking the mixed situation so much. Okay. So, you try to think of maybe what would be a lead for this story. Okay. All right. So Rutgers students, we say they've been frustrated with the gloomy weather recently, but they're pleased that the weather has at least gotten warmer. I know it doesn't sound like earth-shattering news, but again, it's supposed to be an engaging story, a light story. People like to kind of light features sometimes just because it's something relatable, like I talked about with the clothing and stuff like that. Okay, now here's the big difference. I wrote that like a lead, right? Only the big difference here is that's not going to be your lead. That's going to be your nut graph. This is how you can actually construct this feature story, so that actually you can kind of envision what would look like more as a straight news story, and kind of develop it into a nut graph. What you're going to do is you're going to take one of these anecdotes, maybe from here, okay, and I would take maybe Kaylee's actually. That seemed to kind of
I can just girl talk.
And you?
Oh. That's okay.
All right, it's Tom Davis again. I don't know why I'm getting ads in my video, but please bear with me.
Hey, mama.
Echo the whole sentiment I just expressed there. Basically sum up the notes you got, which are right there in the discussion points, and you put it at the top. Now you have an anecdotal lead. We can always return to Kaylee. We don't have to actually leave her high and dry. A lot of times, actually, what they do in these feature stories, they start off with a person, and then they end with the same person. But by starting off with Kaylee, we can actually drill down to maybe her personal frustrations or pleasantries or whatever that more specific to her, and we can drill down and get more detail. Okay, so that's all. See what I did there? I just moved essentially one anecdote to the top. So now it starts with Kaylee Warden said she's been loving the weather this past week. Rutgers been experiencing 70s and reaching into the mid 80s. She said this is her favorite time of year because you start to see everyone going outside. With this change in weather, she has been going outside and doing more schoolwork, to read, or to simply bask in the sun. Nice. I like the idea of bask in the sun. That's good writing right there. It's good. Like Kaylee actually provided essentially, but but that was actually a good quote she had there. Essentially, that we turn into a paraphrase. Hopefully, but then we get into the however. However, I know that temperature is going to be going back down soon, and that is concerning in regards to global warming.
Hold on 1 second, please. Hold on, everybody. Can I stay up here? You want to come in? I got it. You gotta come in? Are you coming in? Sorry, my dog's here.
Okay, and the nut graph. Okay, people are kind of looking for like something here to basically give me at this point to give me an idea, because it is a feature story, but it's also a news story at the same time. So they are looking for news. Okay, but they're hopefully by this point they're kind of hooked in by the stylistic writing and the engaging story, the basking in the sun, the sense of being there, the sense of feeling. Rutgers should say they've been frustrated by the gloomy weather recently, but they're pleased that the weather has at least gotten warm. Okay. Like some students say, it's nice to have a consistent idea what they're wearing. It's kind of what Joe got into. See, blah, blah, blah. Or you could say or even it's frustrating not knowing what to wear or whatever. Okay. That's it. Okay.
Watch the latest live TV shows on a variety of networks with YouTube TV. Terms apply. Cancel anytime. Hey, honey baked ham and potatoes au gratin, tasty glazed turkeys.
Okay, all right, I hope you can still hear me. That had like a number of interruptions that were a bit surprising, between noise coming from downstairs, people blasting movies and stuff like that. Whoops. My dog got interrupted, and there's my dog, by the way. Say hi. There. Hi, Bruiser. Hey, Snuggly. He I had to close my door, which I had to open up there. You good, doggy? Yeah. You're my good Snuggly. Anyway, so I had to close the door, and then the dog was like halfway in the door and halfway out. So I apologize for that. And for some reason, these ads appeared out of nowhere on a video I've been kind of using for a while. So that made things a little bit weird. Probably thought the video was over. So, anyway, but YouTube's got to make money somehow. But that is a way of actually actually taking the information from, that's the value of the discussion point, taking the information and basically turning it into a feature story, turning it into something light, turning it into something that's written to be read. Okay. And you can do that just from taking it right from people's mouths. Basically, the anecdotes they had, the one I showed you from Emily before, the same thing with the data journalism assignment with the students component of it, where people talk about basically having to work for the financial aid and that sort of thing, and not having the right financial aid package and stuff like that. So, so there we go. There's our update on feature writing. Okay. And you know, there's no other reading to do. There's just so what we have to do essentially now is just actually the data journalism assignment, which is due on again on Monday, the day this will be posted. The feature story, which is due in a week from Monday, and then there will be a feature rewrite due a week after that, which will be the Monday after Thanksgiving. Okay, so there will be a video next week, even though it's Thanksgiving week. It'll be on Monday, so don't worry about that. And then, of course, we also have the major assignment, which is due on 12th of December. Everybody's gotten a topic approved for that, so we're good for that. All right, so this is kind of like a little bonus feature here. I want to show you the real life the real life Marv Bronson. It was based on a man by the name of Dennis Kozlowski. I probably won't try to show you every last thing that's in here, but I will get to the part where there's the party. And just to show you that, like, you know, sometimes like reality is worse than fantasy, and crazy things do happen, and you know, and this is what made this story even bigger. Now there are some differences. First of all, Dennis Kozlowski did go to jail. I think he eventually divorced his wife too. He's actually, I think he's since been out of jail. He actually did use company money. In the Marv Bronson story, he actually billed the company. He didn't actually use company money. He billed the company. He tried to use company money by billing them. So there are some differences here. And they talk a little bit more about like his lifestyle and things like that. Okay. This is from 60 Minutes.
A year ago or so, the air was thick with tales of corporate scandal, lost pension funds, big-time theft, and even bigger-time prison sentences for the Enron gang. Then there was Dennis Kozlowski, CEO of Tyco, who was found guilty of, in effect, using Tyco's immense financial resources for what the prosecution described as his own personal piggy bank. You might remember the $6,000 shower curtain and stealing over $100 million from the company. Well, we wondered how the man who could whistle up a corporate jet on a whim or throw a $2 million birthday party was doing in his reduced circumstances. What's it like to go from king of the world to prisoner number 05A4820, serving 8 to 25 years behind bars? Once again, Dennis Kozlowski. We caught up with Dennis Kozlowski at Mid-State Correctional Facility in upstate New York. How you doing? I'm doing okay. Guests include murderers, drug dealers, and pedophiles, and the odd multi-millionaire.
In my wildest imagination, when I would project myself into my late 50s and early 60s, where I would be or what I would be doing, if I make a list of 100 different places or 100 different things, here would never make that list.
He now earns $1 a day, mopping floors and slinging hash to his fellow inmates. In January, Kozlowski spent a week in hospital with a heart ailment and got to thinking. You've not talked publicly up till now. Why did you decide to do it?
When I was in the hospital in January, I was outside the emergency room feeling really uncomfortable, frightened. And that's when I really made the firm decision that I wanted to go through and talk to you at the time.
You became aware of your own mortality.
Very much so.
And you didn't want to leave this world
without at least an opportunity to talk about my side of the story to the extent that I can talk about it.
You agreed to speak with one stipulation, that we would not include anyone else in this story. Because of an appeal, he'll not discuss the details of his case, but he will say,
I believe in the judicial system. I think all that works. But in this case, the jury got it wrong.
That jury convicted him of 22 counts of grand larceny, conspiracy, and securities fraud. His trials occurred in the wake of a white-collar crime wave, Enron, WorldCom, and Martha Stewart. Turns out the news hound smelled blood, accused of looting its company of hundreds of millions of dollars and living the life of a pasha at stockholders' expense. He was the living, breathing version of Wall Street's Gordon Gekko. Green. Up to a point, what's puzzling is why does a man who struggled so hard, so effectively to make it, become so careless or stupid or arrogant? Born in a tenement on the wrong side of the tracks in Newark, New Jersey, Kozlowski worked his way through school.
I played guitar in the bands. I worked in a pharmacy. I worked in a car wash. I had 2 or 3 jobs going at any given time.
Where you came from, there weren't that many options.
No, growing up in Newark, New Jersey at the time, you never thought of yourself growing up to become a CEO.
You started at Tyco, then a small New Hampshire manufacturing company, as an accountant making $28,000 a year, and worked his way up to CEO. He became known as Deal-a-Day Dennis, constantly acquiring new companies and building Tyco from a $40 million company into a $40 billion conglomerate.
Would like to become, all things equal, $100 billion company.
Wall Street could not get enough of the young, aggressive CEO. He also began making staggering amounts of money, among the top earning CEOs in the country.
We had a pay-for-performance culture at Tyco, so most of the money I earned was in the appreciation of Tyco stock.
1 year you made, I think, $170 million.
Not sure 170, but I made over 100 million. Yeah.
Well,
It was more money than
10 million here, 10
Exactly.
million there, who cares? What's it like to earn that kind of money?
It's a way of keeping score, I guess.
Keeping score meant keeping up with the masters of the universe. $30 million to build a mansion in Boca Raton, acquiring homes in Nantucket and Colorado, and just loose change $16 million for Endeavor, a vintage yacht. Wealth meant one thing, social acceptance another. He and his second wife, Karen Mayo, spent millions on painting. He joined the board of the Whitney Museum. For a pied-à-terre in New York, he had Tyco buy a $19 million apartment and decorated it with $11 million worth of stuff. The poor kid from Newark was stepping out on Fifth Avenue. Would Dennis Kozlowski a few years ago even contemplate going to Europe to buy old master paintings?
No, absolutely not. The same with earning the amount of money I was earning at the time.
Was it your idea, or were you invited to join the board of the Whitney?
Oh, it was not my idea at all. I was invited to join the board, and I never made a board meeting.
So you were invited because they like having really rich guys on the board.
I assume it wasn't for my knowledge of art.
But it was art that would lead to his undoing. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office was investigating galleries that were helping customers avoid sales taxes. Kozlowski had purchased $13 million worth of paintings, including a Renoir and Monet, for the Tyco apartment. The prosecutor said he had some of them shipped to Tyco's offices in New Hampshire, a state without sales tax. They were then trucked back to New York. In 2002, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office indicted Kozlowski for evading over $1 million in sales tax, and he resigned as CEO. But that was only the beginning. The Tyco board investigated the CEO's behavior and made public a report that was devastating. Kozlowski's excesses were revealed in excruciating detail. Decorations for the New York apartment became classic tabloid headlines, mocking the CEO's taste and his greed. The $15,000 doggy umbrella stand, and the ultimate symbol of his downfall, that $6,000 shower curtain. The coverage was really punishing.
That was horrible.
As overblown as the coverage may have been, you signed off on those.
I signed off on a decorator to decorate the Tyco apartment, and beyond that, that was my involvement. The first time I heard about that shower curtain, the first time was after I was out of the company, and I read about it in a newspaper, and I was calling around asking, "Where's the shower curtain?" But to this day, I wouldn't know if it fell on me. So.
Then there was the 40th birthday
Here's the party.
of Kozlowski's wife, Karen, in Sardinia. It was togas galore. 4-day festival of flesh. That's right. Jimmy Buffett was flown in for the music, and guests were treated to a special cake, an anatomically correct woman with exploding breasts. The cost was over $2 million. Since Kozlowski claimed it was in part a work retreat, Tyco footed half the bill. Was it embarrassing for you, though, when they played that tape?
Oh,
There was this kind of orgy going on.
Horrible. It was over the top. I was taken aback by it, but I smiled and worked my way through it. Wanted the night to end as fast as I could.
Donald Trump called your behavior happy.
Thank you. Thank you from Donald Trump.
From Donald Trump.
Oh, well, he would know.
That's a good place to stop. Anyway, that was obviously long before Mr. Trump was president, but anyway, so everybody, that was the Kozlowski, the real life Dennis Bronson, and where all that came from. You guys did good work on that though, and I appreciate that. And I expect to actually give out a lot of A's of his final grades this semester because it's good work. Just got to finish strong. Okay. I only got really like a few weeks left, actually. Just, I don't know, 4 or 5, whatever, 3, 4, 5. So let's, try to get this data journalism story right. Feature story. And of course, you could bounce off, you're not sure of the numbers or whatever on data journalism, you could bounce it off me. You want me to see like a preliminary copy of the feature story, that's fine. And of course, with the final assignment, you really need to actually, I mean, I don't require it, but you really need to like bounce it off me because there's no rewrite. So, all right, everybody, thanks very much. And I'll be talking to you.